Look at this now. The church has so often sold out to pat formulas and answers and man-made strategies. So they turn to pride, cynicism, fear, and blindness. And if you trust in yourself long enough, you will have no need of faith, and eventually you will do away with God. Once you do away with faith, you start doing away with God. Today the world is being offered a faithless, godless Christianity that is easy to accept. No creation, no miracles, not blood shed anywhere, not messy. Come on. That's what they want. Even Pentecostal churches. Come to church and let's just, we'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. Stand up. Father, bless them. In Jesus' name. My Bible tells me they laid hands on people. They anointed people. Come on. The Bible tells us that the early church had dunamis. It had power. Come on. I don't want safe Christianity. Listen, I didn't come out of being shot at and wanted by the cops and people wanted me to dead on contracts. I didn't come out of that to come into some little safe, kumbaya little environment and go, okay, listen, I'll just be nice and safe. You understand that? There are religious spirits that come in with you when you come out of a setting and you're used to the religiousness. Some lady said to me the other day, I know. And when she was talking, the smell of religion was so there. I didn't need her to tell me all her litany of things. I need to know this. Did God talk to you today? Don't tell me what you knew 17 years ago. I was saved. Don't tell me when you were saved. Did you talk to him this morning? Is he still alive? Is he working in your life? Is there something he wants to do through you, through your hands? Is his power more real to you today, than he was when you got saved? Is God more alive in you now that when you walk somewhere, do people get disturbed by the fact that the glory of God is on you? Are you carrying something? What are you going to do? I've been in restaurants with Benny Hinn, and all the restaurant people fell on the floor. I mean, I'm talking about the waiters and two. A lady came with drinks, and she just fell over. Drinks went everywhere. She went over to his table. She said, "Sir, I don't know who you are, but would you leave?" He said, "I didn't do anything." I was with another guy in somewhere in Latin America, somewhere. And we went in there and it said 300 occupants. And we went in there and the place was pretty full. And all of a sudden people started bending over on the tables and people started weeping. People started crying. Some people were laying back. One man laid back and yelled out, "God, what do I have to do with you?" And I just went, oh boy, messed it up. I mean, spilled a drink on their dress. Instead, can do that here. Because it's not a nice little perfect brick. How many of you want to be a stone? I didn't say how many of you want to be stone. How many of you want to be a stone? Somebody, get a little help from my friends. I ain't trying to help you there. How many of you want to be a living stone? How many of you want God to be able to show up any moment, any time, in any setting, in any way, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, whether you're at the funeral home or the swimming pool? It don't matter. Don't you want God to show up? If God shows up, you will disrupt religion. You'll drive it right out of there. And it'll get messy. I was in a funeral I did. Girl flipped in a car and cut her head off. High school girl. Never went off with anybody. She never was a bad girl. One time she got in the front seat of a young punk kid and He convinced her to sit in his lap in the driver's side, and the boy was drinking, and the boy had lost his control in his little Chevrolet he thought was real hot and racy. Wow, and he went into a ditch that's about a 12-foot ditch, dropped down in there, and the car went boom, and flipped over. And when it did, she went through the windshield, and the car went right over her head, pulled her head off. I did the funeral. Her parents came to me and said, Pastor, and they were weeping like crazy. They said, look at us. We are undone. But do not go in that room and do this funeral and play it safe. Oh, man, that's like a red flag to a bull. Man, I said, okay. I said, let's deal now. So I got in that room. She was there. I started preaching. I started sharing. I got down. I got in faces. And these cheerleaders, the whole cheerleader squad was there. Football players were there. One by one, they were standing up. Tears on their shirts. And they were saying, Jesus, come in our lives. 52 kids got saved. I buried the head of the Delaware State Highway Patrol. He got saved in my church. His kids got saved here. He got saved here. He died of cancer. We're riding in the family car. I'm riding with the mom and the wife. She has me sitting in the car. We're going to and the governor's there. The head of Dover Air Base is there. Boy, all these bigwigs. Generals are there, all this stuff. She says to me, Pastor Bart, I said, yes, ma'am. What can I do? She said, just don't be religious. Oh, see, I had it all nice, and I was nervous as a cat on the roof. Man, I got all these cops there. I drove up. There were cops everywhere. They had 4 helicopters hovering. And I'm going, oh, Jesus, help me. One cop on this end of the casket, another cop on this end of the casket, everybody standing. I mean, there were people, dignitaries, guys with their big hats and brass stuff, medals hanging down. I'm going, oh, Jesus, what am I doing here? And the Lord stood me straight up and said, stop whining and tell your story. So I said, okay, here we go. So I tell my story. I said, isn't it amazing? A man that chased criminals all of his life, God used a criminal to lead him to Jesus? And I began to testify. And when I did, the 2 men standing on each side of the casket, you could see they had these uniforms on. Their chest was straight, and you could see water droplets going down their chest. I preached, man. I preached. And people got saved in that meeting. The head of Andrews Air Base put his hat under his arm, and when I was walking out, he got up. His aide got up with him. He said something to the aide to stand behind him. And he walked right up and got beside me. In the funeral line, he walked like this. He said, Reverend, that was a hell of a funeral. He said, if I die, would you do my funeral? I just walked along and said, sure. See, religion can't figure out how to get outside of that preset routine of everything being perfect. But faith says, come on, give me my shovel. I'm going to move a mountain. Faith says, get out of the boat. I'm walking on water. Faith says, put me in the lion's den. I'll make them all go to sleep. Faith says, I can do all things through my God who strengthens me.